medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Good morning, Sinkers and Nevis, and welcome to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. It is Saturday, January 21, 2023. It is 8 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. I am Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the program today. This is Inside the News. All right, joining us this morning will be political leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Sean Richards, and he is joining us to speak on the occasion of the party's anniversary. Mr. Richards will be joining us very shortly, in about a minute or so, to speak on the occasion of the party's 58th anniversary. The People's Action Movement is celebrating 58 years, and they are having a number of activities to commemorate this milestone. And so today, Mr. Richards will be joining us very shortly to speak on the 50th anniversary of the People's Action Movement and the successes of the party over the years and where the party has come from. The 58 years is a very long time. 58 years is a very long time, and so congratulations to the People's Action Movement for celebrating such a milestone. And as I stated, they are having a number of activities to commemorate that milestone. So stay tuned to 1FM 98.9. We'll be joining with the Honorable Sean Richards, the political leader of the People's Action Movement, and he will be speaking with us on the occasion of the party's 58th anniversary. Of course, later on we'll be taking some phone calls. So the lines will be open at 466-0989, 762-0989, or 662-0989. Again, the numbers are 466-0989, 762-0989, or 662-0989. You can also join us on social media, our Facebook and YouTube pages at Win Media SKN. That is Win Media SKN. And of course, for the latest in local, regional, and international news, you can check out www.winmediaskn.com. So we are standing by for the Honorable Sean Richards, the political leader of the People's Action Movement, and he will be joining us very shortly to speak on the occasion of the PAM's 58th anniversary. We will take a short break, and when we come back, we hope to be on the line with the leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Sean Richards.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
right, good morning and welcome back to Inside the News. Do we have on the line the Honorable Sean Richards?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Richardson. Thank you so much for joining us here on Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. As I said earlier, you are joining us in commemoration of the People's Action Movement's 50th anniversary in your capacity as the party's political leader. Good morning, and how are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Cornelius, and good morning to all of the listeners of WinFM. I'm doing quite well, and I want to take the opportunity to wish each and everyone a very good weekend. As indicated, this morning I'm happy to join you as the political leader of the People's Action Movement. This Thursday just gone, the 19th of January, the People's Action Movement celebrated 58 years as a political entity in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. In that respect, I also take the opportunity to say thank you not only to the founding members of the party, but to all of the persons who have supported the party over the years and who continue to support the People's Action Movement.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Richards. Now, as you so mentioned, the party has been around for 58 years and, of course, has left a legacy here in St. Kitts and Nevis as being in government, you having the opportunity to serve as Deputy Prime Minister. What can we see next from the People's Action Movement going forward?
Certainly coming out of the elections of August 2022, where the fortunes of the People's Action Movement changed in that I am now the only member of Parliament, it means that the party now has to concentrate on rebuilding. The party has to concentrate on ensuring that it places itself in a much better position so that whatever policies, whatever candidates, etc., the party places before the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, the people would have confidence in the policies of the party, in the candidates of the party, and that persons would place their support behind the People's Action Movement.
Mm-hmm. Do you foresee it being a challenge in terms of getting new people on board in time for the next federal elections?
I don't think it's going to be a challenging process. The last general elections in those constituencies where we needed new candidates, you had quite a number of persons indicating an interest. What I would say to you is that in terms of the candidate selection process, we will be reviewing that to ensure that we get the very best in terms of candidates. We want candidates who not only can articulate the policies of the People's Action Movement, but candidates who people can relate to, candidates who genuinely care about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, candidates who see public office as that of serving the people. And so we will, as I said, we will be reviewing the process. We will be in the different constituencies where we will be fielding in your candidates, ensuring that we get the very best of persons who are available for public office.
Awesome. Now, as celebrating 58 years, as I said, is a very long time. And again, heartiest congratulations and to the People's Action Movement. Now, going forward, what are some of the issues that the party would like to or would want to address as it is right now in St. Kitts and Nevis that you think would align with the legacy and principles of the party?
Firstly, let me say thank you to you for extending your own words of congratulations and commendations to the People's Action Movement on behalf of all the members and supporters. The People's Action Movement has always believed in putting people first, and so that remains at the center of what we do. Therefore, in terms of what we are currently seeing in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, we will be vigorously opposing some of those things and putting an alternative view forward. For example, with the cases of victimization, whereby persons have been sent home from their jobs. These are persons who, yes, support the People's Action Movement, but we do believe that in a small country, that we need to utilize all of our best talent, all of our resources, and persons should not simply be put out of a job because those persons have a different political view. We live in a democratic country, and in a democratic country, we must accept that there will be persons with different political views, and the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, provides us with the right to affiliate with whichever political party we so choose. We note that there is also a number of other issues. You still have social issues plaguing the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We note, for example, that the PAP program is under review, and we don't necessarily have an issue with the program being reviewed. But one of the complaints that we're hearing from persons who depend on that particular program is that while it is being reviewed and they are without that particular assistance, they find themselves in the unfortunate position of not being able to adequately provide for themselves and to provide for their families. We note that in some instances we are seeing some new appointments, and we don't think that some of those persons are the most competent persons to serve in those particular positions. And of course, where the incompetency comes to the fore to the extent that whether it is a statutory board or the operations of government are being affected, we will speak to those particular issues. The current government campaigned on a platform that it can do better and it will do better, and persons are still waiting for better to be done. In cases such as the frequent outage of water to persons, in the height of the Christmas season, I was quite surprised to learn from many persons that for days they were without water. That is an issue which must be addressed and addressed as promptly as possible. As a former minister with responsibility for water, of course, I am fully aware of some of the issues currently plaguing the Department of Water. To a large extent, yes, part of it is that we depend on surface water, we depend on rain, and so in periods of drought, of course, you don't have the necessary supply. But it is one of the issues that the current government vigorously campaigned on, and so we are calling on them, since they claim to have had all of the answers, to provide relief to persons as soon as possible. So you have that particular issues. You have a complaint coming from persons in terms of even being able to access the current ministers of government. And so that is a real concern, because when you put persons there to represent you, you expect those persons to represent you to the best of their ability. During the budget debate, I spoke about the dividend, which is paid as part of the CBI program. When that particular promise was made during the election campaign, it was promised to all persons. As far as I'm concerned, a dividend is paid to shareholders of a company. And so if you want to look at St. Kitts and Nevis and liken it to that of a company, then all of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis should be entitled to that dividend, rather than using those persons who are paid into Social Security. What about persons who, through no fault of their own, disabled persons who have never been able to work a day in their life, but they are citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis? Are they not entitled to the dividend payment? Those persons, like any other individual, who are paying to Social Security should be able to receive their share of the dividend. Persons, again, to no fault of their own, they may began working recently and their employer hasn't paid in the appropriate deductions into Social Security. Are those persons to be penalized? Are they not shareholders of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis? The student who is in college, who is 18 years and older, who would have voted in the last general election, and perhaps that might have been the policy that would have motivated that particular individual to support the current administration. Why should that person be denied his or her $500? That person, likewise, is a citizen of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. There are so many different issues that I can speak to at this particular point in time, but of course, time does not permit.
Now, quickly before you go, Mr. Richards, and thank you so much for highlighting those issues. With regards to the water issue, reports suggest that the current administration inherited this problem from the former administration. What would be your response to that?
My response to that is that with regards to the water issue, this has been an ongoing issue. I have heard from persons, for example, who have said that even when there were children, Keyon, for example, has had a water issue. What I can say from my own perspective is that we had put contracts in place, one to deal with drilling in the Keyon community, and we had also found an issue we had with one of the wells in Shadwell. However, this is a government which campaigned vigorously and said that, the answers are there and they have immediate answers to some of these problems. And as we go by some 5 to 6 months later, the answers, that the claim that they have to these issues apparently have gone missing.
All right. And quickly, now I've been following the conversation as it relates to the allegations of victimization and people being dismissed. Some are saying that the former administration, they were guilty of victimization and dismissing people. What is your response to that?
My response to that is that in the first instance, the facts must be provided. But as I said to you earlier, even if you are going to make that particular claim, you promise the electorate that you are going to be different, you are going to do better. And being different and doing better, it cannot be about coming to persons and saying to persons that someone did it before, and because someone did it before, it is justified. If it is wrong because someone did it before, likewise it is wrong when you do it. As a matter of fact, it perhaps is even worse because you pointed it out as being an ill. You said it is an ill. You promised that you're going to correct this particular ill, and then to come to me sometime after and say, well, you did it. And so because you did, I now have the right to do it. Something is definitely wrong with that type of thinking. And what that type of thinking and that type of action does is it helps to perpetuate it. Because a person feels it is right, and then somebody else comes behind and feel, well, I have to now correct what you did to my supporters. And so the cycle continues. Where, at what point in time do you put an end to it? At what point in time do you recognize that the development of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis involves all of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis? We're a small country, and so it can't be just a particular subset of the population has the adequate skills in order to fully develop our country. It cannot be that at the end of a general election you come to persons and you say, the election is now over. Let us move forward in terms of the development of the country. Let us unite for the development of the country. And then within a few days after that, your actions indicate that it's just mere words. It's just lip service that you're giving to persons.
All right. Now, as we close, Mr. Richards, as we indicated earlier, and as to why you're here, the People's Action Movement is celebrating 58 years. In a nutshell, what are some of the activities that you guys are celebrating, and any closing words for the listeners?
Yes. You did an address to the public on Thursday as part of the 50th anniversary. So tomorrow morning at 8:30, we attend church at the Immaculate Catholic Conception Church on Independence Square. We inviting all persons to come to that church service again. It's 8:30, the Catholic Church in Bastille. During the course of this weekend, you also have a family feud and some other events taking place at PAM headquarters. I would want to encourage persons to touch base with the different persons who would have run as candidates in the constituencies or the constituency chairpersons to get further information if they so desire, in terms of finding out all of the activities that we have planned as part of the 50th anniversary celebrations for the People's Action Movement. In closing, I want to say that the People's Action Movement will continue to advocate on behalf of all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The People's Action Movement, during its tenure in office, ensured that it put in place a number of different policies and programs that are still today benefiting all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, not some of the people, but all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I would also add that even in opposition, the People's Action Movement has lent its voice to a number of different things happening in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and by doing so, it has helped to create debate. It has helped in terms of the government having to look at alternative policies. It has helped in terms of developing the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so whether in government or in opposition, we will continue to advocate on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We will continue to advocate for the development of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Richards, for joining us on today's edition of Inside the News. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. That was the Honorable Sean Richards, the political leader of the People's Action Movement, and he was on the program today in celebration of the party's 58th anniversary. The People's Action Movement is celebrating 58 years as a national political party in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and its political leader, the Honorable Sean Richards, took the opportunity to comment on a number of activities that the party has planned, and also to touch on a number of issues that the party intends to address going forward. We'll take a short break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we will continue Inside the News right here on Win FM 98.9. Of course, the phone lines are open, and you can call us at 466-0989, 762-0989, or 662-0989. This is Win FM 98.9, and I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. I'll take a short break, and I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go round.
TDC Financial Services. We're here for you to help you make your dreams come true. Whether your needs are big or small, we'll support you with them all. TDC Financial Services. We are strong. TDC Financial Services. This is where you belong.
TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects or sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. It is the 21st of January 2023 and it is 11:42 here in the studios of Win FM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls at 466-0989. You can call us to participate in the discussion. For those of you who are just joining the program, earlier, just a short while ago, we had the Honorable Sean Richards, the political leader of the People's Action Movement, and he was on the program to speak on the 58th anniversary of the People's Action Movement, a number of activities that they have planned to commemorate that milestone. And he also addressed spoke on some issues that are on the party's agenda, that the party intends to address or focus on, namely the water issue, the allegations of victimization or people being dismissed from their jobs, and the poverty alleviation program were some of the issues that the PAM's leader spoke on. What are your thoughts on that? We are taking your calls. 466-0989, 762-0989, or 662-0989. Also remember, we are live on our social media accounts. You can check out our Facebook page or YouTube channel at Win Media SKN. That is WINN Media SKN. To those of you who have joined us on the FM band, thank you so much for doing so. The issue of the victimization and the allegations of people being wrongly the allegations of people being dismissed. I have been following the conversation with regards to that. And as you know, we're in the age of social media. This is 2023. And so most of these discussions take place on social media. Don't get me wrong. Of course, people still talk about these things in public, whether it be at a bar, at a restaurant, you name it. But a lot of the conversation has been on social media with regards to allegations of people being victimized and people being dismissed or sent home. Truth be told, this is not a new conversation or a new topic, meaning the subject of it, that is the allegations of victimization and people being sent home. You would know, if you've been following the politics here in St. Kitts and Nevis, or generally across the board, generally politics in the Caribbean, with the change of any administration, there are people who would have to go with the change of that administration depending on the post that they hold. And so in a case where you were once, let's say, a special advisor to a prime minister, if that prime minister no longer occupies the office of the prime minister, then of course you would be reassigned, you would be dismissed, whatever the case may be. The allegations that people were wrongfully terminated, the allegations that people were just, hey, it's time for you to go home. As I said, we've been following the conversation, and you saw, I'm seeing where, on one hand, it is wrongful dismissal. On the other hand, it's a situation where people have been asked to take vacation days that they have accumulated over a certain period of time. But as I said, the conversation of is not that I am trying to water it down or trying to turn a blind eye to it or trying to say it is not happening or it has not happened before, but it is not a conversation, the subject of it, that is the allegations of victimization of people being sent home, that is not new. With the change of any administration, we often hear of people being sent home, people being victimized, and as I said, depending on the post that you hold in that particular administration, whenever the administration leaves office, more than likely you would have to leave office as well. And so if you know you're going to take up an appointment or accept an appointment as a special advisor, expect when the government change, you're going to have to change with it. You're going to have to go with the government. We have some callers on the line, so let's head to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, I also would like to wish the People's Action Movement happy anniversary and wishing them a long, long life, because the country needs the People's Action Movement. So I'm wishing them all the best in the future. In the case of victimization, there's a case to be made, I know of people who are permanent secretaries who actually were sent on leave. I know people who actually in other departments who were sent home. It have nothing to do with special advisors. I know that issues. I could call name, but I wouldn't do that. Also, the People's Action Movement leader has been very, I must say, generous with the government. Because in the case of a dividend, if a company paid out a dividend, you spent $23 million, but yet you haven't created one job. You haven't moved the company 1 inch further. That's something you need to look at the CEO and question the decision of the dividend. Yeah, if you're going to spend $23 million and the economy hasn't get a bump, that need to question. You understand? And if you, as the CEO, claim that you're running at a deficit, but yet you're spending money without being cautious, that's something again need to be looked at. I am very frightened about the state of our economy and the direction in which it's going. I'm very frightened because the way this administration is spending money, we have to put a stop to them. We have to call them out. You look at the Minister of Public Works. He claimed that he inherited a water problem. Yes, he did inherit a water problem, but he also inherited 2 desalination plant, a program that was going on, which they stopped. They stopped the installation of it. Why they stopped it, I don't know. And now you're going to come and tell the people, oh, you soon put in desalination plant. When the project was going on, why you stop it? So the problem with the water, I will have to put at his feet, because he stopped the project. Look at the Bastia High School project. The Bastia High School project, from what I understand, was a project in the advanced stage. But yet, you stopped the project, but you continue the prison project. Let's ask the question, why? Does the prison project have anything to do with campaign financing? That's why you continue? Let's ask that question. This administration is very good at throwing stone and hiding their hands, but they are not very good at governing. This country hasn't moved forward under this administration. Everybody, any turn you turn, you hear people crying out. You say you revamping the PAP program, you overhauling it, but yet you come out with a bigger number than what you went in with. When you do think you have a bigger number, let's look at these things. You got people out here suffering, waiting for the money, suffering to please who? To suit what? This government is incompetent. The political leader has been very generous in calling them out, but they are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. They have lack of experience, and that is why we are suffering in St. Kitts and Nevis. I think the quicker we get rid of this administration is best for the country. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open, and we are taking your calls at 466-0989. That is 466-0989. It is 11:51. Of course, we break at 12 for the headline news, and when we come back, we will continue Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. Again, caller, thank you for your contribution. A number of issues that the caller touched on there. As I was saying earlier with regards to the matter of victimization, when I mentioned, it was just a reference in terms of a special advisor. As I was saying, if you hold a specific post, you would know that, hey, before you take this post, perhaps they're going to explain to you that it is not necessarily a permanent position. It is a position that would change when the administration changes. With regards to the water, I've been following that conversation as well, and a number of people have been talking about that. Let me stick a pin, and we will head to the phone lines, and we'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and you?
I know you're giving God thanks. It's great to be alive on a day like today. Give God thanks for everything. I missed most of what the PAM leader said. But I congratulate them, because if you know the political history of St. Kitts, that was the only party that survived after an election. You go right back to 1946, 1937, 1946, 1952, 1957, 1961. Whenever there was an election, a party came together, some people came together as a party to compete, lost, and disbanded. So the PAM party is the only party that ever survived extinction. So for that alone, I give them credit. Now, it would be nice to know. You see, we don't believe in democracy. I am convinced. Everybody wants their party alone to rule, and the rest go to extinction. That is how we are, no matter who in. When Labour in, they want another party. PAM in, they lead the people, they want nobody else. We have got to mature as a people. For us to have true democracy, we must have opposition. Parties that see themselves as part of the system. And what we need is a professional civil service. Because the truth is, permanent secretary should not be moved, The word is permanent. But everybody does it, so we think it is right. And people, the system must be professional, just like the police force, where you have to do exams to move up. Not being picked by a political leader. People inside of the system should be able to progress up to permanent secretary. That is how it is designed. In other countries, you can't move. You can't get no thing unless you write an exam. But in St. Kitts, People send people here, send people there, not qualified, not capable, you know? And so, you have election, you got to get rid of them. Everybody is sing the same song, you know, all parties sing this. And some people are so, I'm trying to find the right word, aggressive. And they push the party leaders to victimize people. The God start naming who must go and who must not go. And often it's the poor people that suffer. The poor people that suffer. Because they get very exuberant during the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
If the party lose, they're in trouble.
No, as you mentioned, the fact that a permanent secretary, I mean, the name alone says it all, permanent secretary.
Legally, they are, you know.
That should not be moved. What would you say to permanent secretaries who clearly show their political preference? So don't get me wrong, as a PS, you're still a citizen, you have the right to vote, you have the right to support who you want, but I think where people begin to
unprofessional. Some of them just campaign openly from the government office for the party that they support. Now, if you are professional, you shouldn't be doing that. So some of them put themselves at risk. But it's the Public Service Commission is the only thing that can fire you, you know. But some people just walk off. They say, go, they go. Any civil servant who is appointed, no minister could turn you away. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, go ahead, Carla, make your point.
The Public Service Commission is the governor who signed your paper. He said, go home. He said, go home here. You can't send me home, but a lot of us, we just take it and walk off. We victimize ourselves. You know, and it's time enough, as I said. We get a professional system. It will continue. People put in, now they have some advisors who never should be advisors. You can't break down under one party and build up in another. That don't make sense. We need people who have national pride and integrity. And until we do so, and some people accept positions that they're not qualified for. But the party wants you there as a watchman. So, when the party gone, you find yourself in a position. Some people turn away themselves because people could always say, oh, Miss Henry got to go, Miss Henry got to go. They got to prove that you break some law or something. And for the party, stemming up our people mature. There's no reason why PAM people and Labour people can't get along. People who feel this division are themselves very divisive and angry and wicked. It's like, happening in Rwanda. Are you happening in Rwanda?
Yes.
One party send the other out to slaughter their neighbor, their brother, their uncle, their cousin. These are the things we have. It can come to it one of these days, because some of us so love our party. We are willing to commit to kill people for the party. So the leaders of the party have got to get together and form some national thing. Not quite unity, right? But there must be an understanding between the leaders so they pass it down to their members. You can't say, this is Labour time, this is unity time. Well, when will it be the people's time? And again, I must commend the PAM party. They have endurance. But there are some people in PAM who, just like Labour, is a saintist culture, When the party in, everybody must go. So when are we going to stop? And the young people are no better. You see how they behave? Just like the old people behave, they make enemies with everybody who's not on their side. So when are we going to have a democratic country? So all who gets turned away, some of them work for it. Some of them really work for it. But still, I am saying to Dr. Drew, we have got to professionalize the civil service. Otherwise, my great-grandchild will be going in and out. We need to professionalize the civil service and putting people on board to execute judgment. It's unprofessional. Some people are put on board for one reason. Are you looking at people's contribution to national development? Everybody got to go. So you take out a board, put in an incompetent one. By the time they start to learn, you take them out. That is why we're so backward, compared to some other countries.
All right. We're at the top of the hour, so we'll have to end this call. Thank you for your contribution. It is 12 o'clock here in the studios of 1FM 98.9. It is January 21, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. We'll take this break now for the headline news, and when we come back, we will continue the program for today. This has been the first half of Inside the News for Saturday, January 21, 2023. Let's take this break for the news, and we'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM. You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com. When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With the 1FM News, I am Devon Cornelius.
And I am Yolana Weeks. The People's Action Movement celebrates 58 years. Richards suggests that the party will be successful again. The People's Action Movement's 58th anniversary was celebrated on Thursday, January 19, 2023, and party leader Honorable Sean K. Richards said the People's Action Movement is not only celebrating a long history, but its accomplishments over the years.
Perhaps our first point of pride is the resilience that this movement has shown. We have had some tremendous achievements, but we have also experienced very daunting challenges. Yet, we have pushed through and summoned our collective will to continue to strengthen the People's Action Movement.
Richards suggests that the People's Action Movement will rise to success again, adding that the legacy of the party was designed to put people first.
Our movement, powered by the solidarity force of our people, has always understood and shown that we must work together to ensure our success. We have done it before, and we will do it again. Our nation needs us, and we will always show up to answer that call. Our legacy has never been about celebrating the party's wins if people are still struggling to make ends meet. Regardless of where we have been on this 58-year journey, we have always adhered to our core belief that a nation's gains start with its people. And our legacy demonstrates that our policies have always been designed to put people first by implementing visionary approaches to policy development that reap benefits for generations to come.
Notwithstanding that there are challenging times, Richards encouraged the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to respond to the needs of the people and fulfill the promises made during the 2022 election campaign. He further expressed that the People's Action Movement will remain steadfast and ensure to either interrogate or support any decisions made. Equally, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis should assist each other in times of need.
The People's Action Movement is forever grateful for your undying loyalty and for your interest in the development of our beloved nation. Wherever we are in this country's governance structure, we will take our roles seriously. In the interests of all our people, we will challenge faulty policies. We will interrogate when necessary. And we will support whatever is good for St. Kitts and Nevis. We will always be a voice of reason and an advocate of fairness and advancement. Our promises to you, the people, remain the steadfast people first. And while we hope, wait, and call on government to catch up to the needs of the people, I continue to urge us to do what we can for each other. In times of recession, our relief is our capability to band together to protect each other and be our brother's keeper. We must, therefore, continue to be mindful of the needs of our people and reach out to assist in any area that we can.
Richards said the People's Action Movement will continue to work and drive because its strength, resilience, and commitment are first and always to each other and to the cause of St. Kitts and Nevis. Regionally,
Christine Kangaloo is the President-elect of Trinidad and Tobago, following a meeting of the Electoral College on Friday. Sunilala has the details.
I hereby declare that Ms. Christine Carla Kangaloo has obtained the greater number of votes cast.
Just after 4 p.m., House Speaker Bridget Anissa George announced former Senate President Christine Kangaloo as Trinidad and Tobago's President-elect. Ms. Kangaloo received some 48 votes, significantly more than the opposition's candidate Israel Khan, who received 22, with 3 ballots being rejected. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who presented Ms. Kangaloo as government's candidate, said she has acted as president of this country no less than 33 occasions during her tenure as Senate President, describing her as a worthy candidate.
This chamber, by clear majority, has chosen a distinguished daughter of Trinidad. I would like to ask all citizens to acknowledge this plus in the scorecard of Trinidad and Tobago.
Opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bissessa also offered her congratulations.
I join with my colleagues in taking note of this electoral process, and I serve notice that the opposition would hold that office to scrutiny in the best interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Independent Senator Paul Richards, meanwhile, said he hoped Ms. Kangaloo serves the office of president with the same attributes during her tenure as Senate president.
President-elect Christine Carla Kangaloo's display of dignity, respect, temperance, patience, and compassion during her tenure as President of the Senate. These attributes will no doubt be brought to bear in her service to Trinidad and Tobago as head of state.
Ms. Kangaloo will serve as TNT's 7th president for a 5-year term and will be only the second female in that post. Sonolala, TTT News.
The Caribbean Development Bank says the region must raise food production and increase climate-smart agricultural practices to reduce the cost of imports and food insecurity. The matter was addressed at a CDB press briefing. Here's Javon Keys.
Latin America and the Caribbean is one of the most food insecure regions in the world, with more than 80% of the food consumed being imported. President of the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, Dr. Jean Leon, says the region's agricultural sector is facing a number of challenges which must be addressed.
Low productivity, inconsistent output, high vulnerability to natural hazards, and the impacts of climate change. The result, as I'm sure you're all aware of, is low competitiveness, limited ability to respond to regional and international market demands, and heavy dependence on imports to meet food and nutrition needs.
Dr. Leon says the region must take a few steps to address the shortfall.
1. Investing in air and marine transport infrastructure and services to facilitate improved intra-regional trade and integration into global food markets. 2. Designing and supporting the implementation of internationally recognized food safety standards to strengthen market linkages. And 3, increasing investment in appropriate and location-specific climate-smart agriculture processes and promoting agricultural insurance to reduce risks posed by climate change and natural hazard events.
CARICOM has set a 25 by 25 target for imports in the region, aimed at reducing the region's food import bill by 25% by the year 2025. Director of the CDB's Projects Department, Daniel Best, says a broader approach to agriculture is also needed.
Food sovereignty extends actually beyond the 25 by 25. And it really needs to be underpinned by climate-smart agriculture, by capacity training to our farmers, to our producers.
He says a number of projects are being undertaken to help meet the target.
The tourism and hospitality industries are the most likely to see investments this year. In the latest Business Confidence Survey, pollster Don Anderson says almost half of the businesses in that sector said they were inclined to spend this year.
46.3% of the tourist sector said we intend to invest and we intend to increase our capital expenditure, capital investment over the next year. And we can see this is followed by the service sector, which is a pretty broad one, personal care, that type of thing. Personal services, 27.7%. If we look at the other end of the scale, finance, insurance, real estate, and business services are down 20.3%.
Internationally, Ukraine's defense minister has said that he had a frank discussion with his German counterpart about German Leopard 2 tanks. Germany has not yet decided whether to send the tanks to Ukraine or allow other countries to donate theirs, despite pressure on Berlin to act. Well, President Zelensky says his country urgently needs modern weapons to push back the Russian invasion.
Yes, we will still have to fight for the supply of modern tanks,
But every day we make it more obvious that there is no alternative, that a decision about tanks must be made.
Well, Germany's new defence minister has denied blocking the use of its Leopard tanks in Ukraine. He said that such a decision had to be carefully considered. Russia has warned that providing tanks would mark an extremely dangerous escalation. However, Ukraine's allies have agreed at a meeting at Ramstein Air Base in Germany to supply more armoured vehicles, air defence systems and ammunition. Our Europe correspondent, Jessica Parker, has the details.
This is what Kyiv wants, but can't yet have. German-made Leopard tanks to help defend and reclaim its territory from Russia. Britain's gone first in sending Western main battle tanks, but it's a fraction of what's being asked for.
Hundreds of thank you are not hundreds of tanks. All of us can use thousands of words in discussions, but I cannot put words instead of guns that are needed against Russian artillery.
Defence chiefs have pledged fresh support, but Berlin is still resisting pressure to release its Leopard 2s. It gets to decide where German-made tanks can go, even those bought by other countries.
Minister, why is Berlin so hesitant on this issue?
We are not really hesitating. We are just very carefully in balance and all the pros and contras. We are not talking just about delivering anything to anybody. This is a new kind of measure.
These crowds in Berlin want Germany to do more, but the government has its eye on broader public opinion. The country's World War II history still casts a long shadow, while there are fears of escalation.
They've not made a decision on the provision of Leopard tanks. What we're really focused on is making sure that Ukraine has the capability that it needs to be successful right now.
The NATO military alliance is pressing a sense of urgency.
There is a need for support to Ukraine to enable them not only to survive, but actually to retake territory to win this war.
But there's a lot of talk, of course, about a Russian spring offensive. But do you think Ukraine can take back territory this year?
Absolutely, and that's the reason why NATO allies are and partners are providing significantly more support to Ukraine.
A Soviet-era tank in a war of today. Frontline Ukrainian units are hungry for more modern weapons to help unfreeze this conflict. Jessica Parker, BBC News in Ramstein.
Well, earlier we spoke to Yuri Sak, who's an advisor to Ukraine's defence minister, and he shared with us his views on yesterday's meeting of those Western allies in Ramstein.
This was the Ramstein meeting number 8, and you know, it has followed the same logic as the previous ones. More military assistance was pledged to Ukraine. More countries have said again that they will stand with Ukraine for as long as necessary. All NATO countries support Ukraine. And essentially what we need to do now is to redefine what it means to stand with Ukraine, because for us, defending at this stage of this warfare does not mean just stabilizing the front line. And actually, we are very grateful to our allies for the military support that we have received so far, because thanks to that support, we were able to stabilize the front line. We were able to stop the enemy from advancing, and we were able to even drive the enemy out of certain areas. But of course, right now, for us to be able to defend our land means to be able to deoccupy our land, to liberate our territories. And for this, we need heavy tanks. For this, we need armored vehicles. And from this perspective, today's Ramstein was very successful. And this is something that our Minister of Defense, Mr. Alexei Reznikov, said today. But at the same time, it could have been even more successful. Because look, this was Ramstein number 8. But at the same time, for example, Ukraine has been already target of 12 massive missile attacks. So we need to be, as a coalition of free nations, we need to be one or couple of steps ahead of our enemy, not behind our enemy.
Well, the German defence minister has said that he won't stand in the way. Germany won't stand in the way if the Allies are acting as one. Does that then now mean that it's in NATO members? The ball is in their court. Is it over to them? What are you saying to them? How likely is it that they will act unified on this?
We are confident, and we have no doubt, that the decision to start providing Ukraine with heavy tanks will be made. Actually, it, in a way, has already been made, because the United Kingdom has shown leadership and was the first country to actually overcome this mental hurdle and start providing Ukraine with tanks. So we are very grateful to the United Kingdom for the Challenger 2 tanks that hopefully will arrive on our battlefield soon. Now, at the same time, of course, we know that there are more than 2,000, for example, Leopard tanks in Europe. And we have said it before that there is no rational explanation why Ukraine, which is now fighting for the freedom of Europe, why we are not getting a fraction of that. Because you know that our military command has said in the past, we need 300 tanks. This is a fraction of what the NATO allies and European countries actually are in a position to provide Ukraine. So as our President Zelensky said, Ukraine will continue to push for this political decision, and we are very hopeful that this will be taken in time for our next stages of the military counteroffensive.
Okay, and what do you make then also of the German argument that the US should be providing their Abrams tank to Ukraine, and that would help to facilitate the matter for yourselves?
Abrams tanks are also something that we have been asking for, but we understand that there are some concerns in the US as with regard to
That was the 1FM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured. Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Bastille. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle, can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With over a century of perfection behind the Magasin name, A smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Found the sound 99.9 FM.
People make the world go
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. It is 12:30, here in the studios of WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The phone lines are open and we'll be taking your calls. Also, I want to play something for you from the People's Action Movement with the political leader, Sean Richards, speaking on the occasion of the party's 58th anniversary, and of course touching on a number of issues. So let me play that, and then we will begin taking some calls.
Members and friends of the People's Action Movement, greetings. Today, as we celebrate the 58th anniversary of the People's Action Movement, it is truly an honor to be here as the political leader of this enduring movement and to be part of such a momentous occasion. Today, we celebrate not only PAM's long history, but also our many accomplishments. Perhaps our first point of pride is the resilience that this movement has shown. We have had some tremendous achievements, but we have also experienced very daunting challenges. Yet, we have pushed through and summoned our collective will to continue to strengthen the People's Action Movement. Our movement, powered by the solidarity force of our people, has always understood and shown that we must work together to ensure our success. We have done it before, and we will do it again. Our nation needs us, and we will always show up to answer that call. Our legacy has never been about celebrating the party's wins if people are still struggling to make ends meet. Regardless of where we have been on this 58-year journey, we have always adhered to our core belief that a nation's gains start with its people. And our legacy demonstrates that our policies have always been designed to put people first by implementing visionary approaches to policy development that reap benefits for generations to come. Such inventive programs and policies are still abiding in the leading income earner of this country, the CBI program, for example. So too are vanguard policies that we put in place for port development such as Port Zante and the Southeast Peninsula, along with self and schools meals. In 2022, this federation ushered in a new government. I sincerely wish for the Prime Minister to govern our country in a way that benefited all its citizens and prayed for our nation's future. In fact, I continue to do so because our country's achievements are the people's dreams and opportunities. I have held out hope, even in the face of uncertainty, that our nation will rise again and that the government of the day will work in the best interests of all our citizens. But here we are, 5 or some months later, unable to ignore the realities of our situation. In the last election campaign, I spoke about the CBI program and its importance to the Federation and the need for our people, all our people, to benefit in a meaningful way from the program. We laid out solid policies for transformation in healthcare and education to meet the basic needs of the people. No society can get ahead without fully addressing and developing its healthcare and education systems, especially as it relates to taking care of our young and our elderly. These are not just engines for growth and development, they are engines for sustainability and prosperity. We noticed throughout the campaign how this government adopted some of our policy positions as their own, and that is fine. What is good for St. Kitts and Nevis is good for us all. We are used to being the innovators of this nation. So even then, I was hopeful, but rather than use the opportunity to be different, we have unfortunately gotten the same old Labour in a new suit and tie, sitting in the halls of government. Haphazard, ill-thought-out plans and policies is typical of a Labour government. We were told that a CBI dividend payment would be distributed to the citizens and residents of the Federation. As far as I know, a dividend is a sum of money paid to a company's shareholders. If this government distributes dividend payments to the shareholders of SKN, that would mean every citizen. Why have they chosen the category of the pensionable and pensioners, and those who are not yet pensionable, to define the shareholders of this federation? The promise sold to voters was to vote for me and you shall receive a dividend from the CBI program. Well, one think that they were speaking to all eligible voters over the age of 18. Why are they not being counted? College students, those who just entered the job market, those who are unable to work due to disability, unable to work through no fault of their own, but who voted and are citizens of this federation. What about those people? Are they not shareholders? A person who works, yet their employer has not remitted Social Security payments, or if you have been unable to work for the past year, they do not qualify as shareholders of this nation. Why? Now, I turn to the vexing issue of victimization. While it is understandable that elections have consequences and that a change in government will see implicit changes in board members, etc., what is baffling is that this government promised to be different. They promised to do better. They promised to be a government for all citizens. Yet, here we are, victimizing citizens at every turn, with no regard for their skills, talents, performance, nor for the families they have to feed. We are also seeing a proliferation of the hiring of young people in prominent positions such as in statutory corporations, etc. Again, I welcome the ascendancy of young people and the opportunities given to them, but it will be remiss of me not to point out the attendant problems of the government's approach. In a recessionary year, not just for St. Kitts and Nevis, but in countries globally, there is an associated increase in cost of living. For this reason, we understood and outlined a series of relief measures to help individuals and families weather the dry months. The new administration did some of the same in its campaign. Here we are, again, some 5 or so months later, with energy crises and grocery hikes. None of the election promises have been fulfilled. Opportunities have not been created in employment or incentives. The new administration had announced the capping of fuel. Nothing done. Healthcare, no improvement in healthcare to date. The water situation is worse. The hospital is out of water. The Cardin home out of water. Homes out of water for more than a day, including during the height of the Christmas and Carnival season. This is unacceptable in modern society. Governments are in office to help solve national problems. Governments are put in place to care about people. The People's Action Movement calls on the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to turn attention to the people's suffering. It is time to stop the posturing. Whether you believe it, you are now in government, just you. And you are expected to govern, and to govern with heart, with compassion, and with the urgency and creativity that the times demand. Friends, supporters, members, all. The People's Action Movement is forever grateful for your undying loyalty and for your interest in the development of our beloved nation. Wherever we are in this country's governance structure, we will take our roles seriously. In the interest of all our people, we will challenge faulty policies. We will interrogate when necessary. and we will support whatever is good for St. Kitts and Nevis. We will always be a voice of reason and an advocate of fairness and advancement. Our promises to you, the people, remain the steadfast people first. And while we hope, wait, and call on government to catch up to the needs of the people, I continue to urge us to do what we can for each other. In times of recession, our relief is our capability to band together to protect each other and be our brother's keeper. We must, therefore, continue to be mindful of the needs of our people and reach out to assist in any area that we can. The People's Action Movement will continue to work, and we will continue to thrive because our strength, our resilience, our commitment is first and always to each other and to the cause of this great federation. And so today, we look to the future with hope, determination, and resolve, and to redoubling our efforts for the cause of our country.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you?
Good. Giving God thanks and praise. My name is Lincoln David Perry. I just want to make that known. I just call in to give support to what was mentioned by our political leader, the Honorable Shanker Richards. And what was mentioned is just a testament to what Pam has been doing over the years, especially when they were in government. Even if you want to look at the last 7 years, because some people will say they were there. If you realize before all the thing happened, you realize what was happening. Good thing, and it's because they had majority. Pam, and of course we had some CCM persons. And I know that those groups were doing the best interest for St. Kitts and Nevis. But I want to touch on a few things. I just want to say happy 50th anniversary to the People's Action Movement and to all its members, because the members are part of the movement as well, and the founding members who are still here with us for their contribution. And to everyone now who are there now making contribution to the development and advancement of our country, because I personally believe that the People's Action Movement is the best party for the economic development and advancement of St. Kitts and Nevis and of our people, because they continue to create avenues as opposed to make persons dependent on government. And that's one of the pillars, the strong pillars of the People's Action Movement, to make people independent and to start their business and to make business flourish. You could ask your parents and grandparents, and they will let you know. Okay? Now, the next thing, from Inside the News, I listened about the AG speaking about the need for a DPP. And I think what Sylvine mentioned about the role of the DPP. But the role of the DPP is actually to bring criminal cases on behalf of the state for persons who carry through the police. Now, the DPP is the sole office that's responsible for such charges. However, I could recall that some persons keep saying certain offices should be filled by persons of St. Kitts and Nevis, but they are wrong. We can fulfill our thing because persons in those offices can be impartial. So I am not sure about others, but I represent constituency number 7. And I am calling on the AG and the PM, or Honorable Prime Minister, to look for lawyers in my constituency. There are lawyers in constituency 7. Give them that opportunity to be the DPP of our country. Every lawyer I show must be dreaming of one day aspiring to be either DPP, Attorney General, or Solicitor General for our government, our legal advisor, our legal counsel. So I'm asking for my constituency. I know he mentioned about seeking a DPP. But before time, we have this gentleman by the name of Nazibu Butler, a national of St. Kitts and Nevis. He was a very good DPP. I'm not sure during your time how many DPP you would have known from St. Kitts and Nevis in your time of knowing about DPP. Can you recall?
No, I'm not certain.
Right. So what I'm saying, I am calling first for lawyers from my constituency 7, to give them the opportunity to be DPP. And then throughout St. Kitts and throughout Nevis, because we are one country, St. Kitts and Nevis. So if they cannot find anybody in St. Kitts, I surely can find somebody in Nevis. And if Booby Island had people on it, give the people from Booby Island, because Booby Island is a part of St. Kitts and Nevis. What I'm saying, I would like our nationals to give them that opportunity. We have persons here in the legal, because if you're saying somebody from our legal fraternity cannot be DPP, then they shouldn't be lawyers, because they're not impartial, they're not carrying out justice to their clients and to the nation. You understand where I'm coming from, my friend? So what I'm saying, I am asking on behalf, firstly, of my constituents who are lawyers, are qualified for that. Just read up to see what the function and the roles and the duties and the task of a DPP and what the office is all about, and give them, because just like how they can go over to study to be a lawyer, they can be DPP. So I'm asking our Attorney General, who is a young person from St. Kitts and Nevis, who was given the opportunity to see his dream come true to be the Attorney General. Give somebody from our country as well that opportunity to see the dream come true. It's about time we look for our people. Refusing to give our people a job is somebody being jobless and somebody else getting the job. You catch where I'm coming from, my friend? So even you, If you are a lawyer, I'm advocating for you. Devon, it is, right?
Yes.
I'm advocating for you to be attorney, to be the DPP as well. And DPP means Director of Public Prosecution.
I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not interested.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I know. So I'm saying even you, if you were a lawyer, I'm advocating for you as well. Because you're a national St. Kitts and Nevis. So I'm advocating first. Like I said, I might sound like a recorder, but I want people who just tune in to understand. I'm asking for our Attorney General and our Prime Minister firstly to give they have the record of the person who are lawyers in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm asking first for people from my constituency, Constituency 7, give them the opportunity to be the DPP. And then to every national St. Kitts and Nevis who are lawyers and citizens, throughout St. Kitts and Nevis and the Booby Island had people now, to show you how much I'm talking about for our people. If Booby Island had people living it, give them the opportunity to be Attorney General as well.
All right.
And that's what I'm encouraging. To let us put our people back to work. Let us put our businesses back. I'm also advocating for our businesses, even in the businesses in my constituency, to get whatever support financially or otherwise that they need from government. To support them to build, because I just walked through a constitution. This is one of the constitutions in Bastille. And a foreign business now right outside of one of our nationals having a business. It is their right to do so. But what I'm saying, the competition are coming strong. And if we do not look out for our people to ensure that we don't just want employees. We want as well business owners. We want our people to start creating wealth. So even you might be on WinFM right now, but who knows? I will also encourage you to start your own radio program or whatever you're good in. Start your own business. Let us start to create our own wealth. And this is my advocacy for my people in my constituency. I also want to just one thing before I go, my friend Devon. Just recently, there were 2 incidents of violence in my constituency where persons get wounded and so forth. I'm not sure how serious they are, but I'm calling for peace in my constituency and throughout the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let our people be peaceful. I know today there are people who say they do not believe in God, but you could ask your parents, you could ask your grandparents, and maybe even you, if you remember, when church, the belief in Jesus Christ was very strong. Yes, we had certain problems, but the level at which it is when people seem as if now wrong is right and right is wrong. And even if you just touch somebody in society, they still want to hurt you. Let us get back to the scripture. Jesus Christ speaks about peace. If somebody do you something, you don't have to respond with violence. You could respond with peace and love to that person. So let us be peaceful in one, my constituency, and two, throughout the entire nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us put Christ first in our lives.
All right, we'll
call
it. Thank you.
We try so many things. I'm going to go just now, Devon. We would try so many things to bring peace, and it's not working out. Let's go back and give Christ a chance. So I just want to say to you, my friend Devon, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And if you have any question, because it seems as if you wanted to, you can do that right now, and maybe I could answer. If not, see you some other time.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. It is 12:54 here in our studios of WinFM 98.9. This is Inside the News. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Call us at 466-0989. That is 466-0989. Or you can try us at 762-0989. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again, Devon. Good afternoon to all of my Nevisian families, all of my relatives overseas, my nieces, nephew, my brother in New York, my brothers in New York. Everybody for me. The Freeman, the Osborne, the Payne, everybody, all the Henrys in Antigua and St. Kitts. Now I heard Honorable Mr. Maynard talking about the water situation. Last night I was listening to my television and they were talking about Israel turning the desert into a green land. And they said all they did was the, what do you call the saltwater story? You know what I mean?
Desalination?
Desalination, right. So that is how they did it. Now we have diplomatic relations with Israel. I think we do. Rather than, because he was given some timeline. So like until next year, some people don't have any water. Something, and drilling might take 6 months, and if it is unsuccessful, another 6 months. While the prediction, as they are saying, that the place is going to be hotter this year. So I said, well, why linger? Get desalination plants and start doing it. Because if all the hotels that come and do it, why can't we? Because it is predicted to get worse. So what are we waiting for? We're waiting for an uncertain future. Now, this thing about using professionals, we have no confidence in our people, As the last caller said, the last 2 DPP have been foreigners, maybe CARICOM national, but foreigners. And we are churning out lawyers by the dozen. Churning out doctors by the dozen. I heard him say 250 doctors they had, something like that. Dr. Joe said. I say, well, we don't need so many, number one. Maybe what the government should do is assist the doctors in specializing. Because the same thing happening in the civil service, You go for your first degree, and you would like to go back and get your master's or specialize. Some of them ask you to resign or go without pay. When you have to pay, you already have a student loan you can't handle. So the government, Dr. Joe, make an effort. The people want to specialize, but if they can't afford it, the government could step in because they are the benefactors of whatever skills we get. And we're talking about the AMPEP. If they unstep, they're certainly getting more than 360. Find ways. You see, the whole thing we're modernizing. We need a serious plan. You have so many graduates with all kinds of subjects. And sometimes, because we're looking at who blue, who red, who green, who yellow, who... people don't get placed well. So we are, in fact, investing in failure. So I want Dr. Joe. I know you have some people around you, and I know them. Give every person that you have to promote, you promote the country. I mean, you have young people like Devon and a whole set of them. Offer them scholarships. You can't expect everybody to go to the development bank, which you say ain't got no money for education. I don't know how so. Or go to the commercial bank, which is worse. And when you come back, you strangle. Because while they're talking about the high rate, students are still waiting to have their loan thing rescheduled. Because at one point they said they were offering 5. All who signed for 10 and 11, their own should come down to, you don't think so, Devon? What do you say?
Repeat that question.
No, the government was talking about lowering the offering student loan at, I think it was 5%, they said, right? Mm-hmm. For those who just applying. Those who have been struggling with the 10 and the 11% for these years, shouldn't their rate also be lowered? Make it easier for them to get out of debt?
Yeah, I think that's a great option. I don't know what the process is now, but the last time I checked, I think they are currently in the process of reviewing that to have theirs lowered as well.
University start already, and the next set going in. Now I must give Nevis some credit. Nevis is always ahead of St. Kitts, Rather sorry to say it as a Kittitian. They are way ahead. They were offering this land. St. Kitts talking about it. I heard Mr. Brandt say they were offering students who are there for 5 years or more land at $1 square foot. You know about that?
I'm not sure of the specifics.
Yes. and then they would be able to get loans to build. So these you're saying, oh, we will give you at 7. Now tell me, between $1 and $7 and the size of the land, you still can't do anything. And we need to motivate our people more. You see, if we have national pride and national policies, not political policies, we'll be better off, you know. And all these young lawyers, you know, the young fellow, he teaches law at the college. You know who I mean?
No.
Azad Gums.
Oh, okay.
He has great potential, you know. Very great potential. But are we able to overlook the color? There are so many other people. They may be in NRP. NRP must got people. These people are stupid. CCM have people. Divisions excel. Are we able to look beyond the red? Because while we say yes, you know, oh yes, it is true. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? So I am asking the Prime Minister, please to let some of these advisors go home. They have done enough damage. What I am saying, you have a national policy of development. We have a long way to go. As I said, start with the desalination plants while you drill. Because the truth is, I think some drilling was done already in Guyana and nothing came up.
All right. Well,
you know? So work on it. We want progress. Everybody who succeeds, no matter their color, the country succeeds. All right then.
All right, caller. Thank you for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News here on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the program. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls at 466-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. The caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon to everybody. Greetings in Jesus' name, the only Savior from hell and from sin, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, you see, a lot of us, when we call in on that sort of stuff, and when we speak on issues like politics and economics and that sort of stuff, we do not speak from the biblical point of view. We speak from the sinful point of view, which is really of Satan. Now, the question is, people are recommending that the government do this, do that, provide this, provide that, control this, control that, own this, own that, and you go on and go on. Now, I would like to know, where the government going to find the money to do all these many things that people are recommending for the government to do and to control and regulate and that sort of stuff? Because we have to remember that everything that the government does, comes at a cost. And in the end, is the taxpayers who have to foot that cost. And that is why government, in the end, sooner or later, have to increase taxes. And the more taxes are increased, the worse it is for the economy. The poverty rate go up. The unemployment rate go down. The unemployment rate go up. The standard of living go down. The cost of living goes up. When government have to increase, in the end, the taxes to fund all these things that people are recommending. You know, and people, on top of that, people are recommending that government have all kind of social programs to feed the poor. And that sort of stuff. When the answer is really, part of the answer really is to, rather than having social programs, the way to go as part of the answer is to increase the spending or purchasing power of the dollar, which going in the line of the Bible way of doing things, as the Bible instructs. But since we are going the opposite and are recommending the opposite, as though money grows and trees for the government to just go and pick it off the trees. Where are the government going to find the money to fund all these programs and all of these expenses and so on that people are recommending and that government themselves are promising?
What would you suggest?
Like I always suggest, go in the Bible way of doing things, which is instead of going down the road of a planned economy and a socialist way of doing things and a regulated economy by government, instead of going in those unbiblical ways, which are sinful and because they're contrary to the Bible, go the way of the Bible in at least, at minimum, be continually decreasing taxes until you reach what the Bible really instructs for the tax system to be really voluntary and fully so. And not only that, to have a proper and biblical free market capitalist economy, which one of the many things it would do would increase the power, this purchasing power of the dollar, which will be helpful to everybody, including the poorest among us. And not only that, but people know, instead of the expenses being borne by the government for all of these different things, people now will be in a far, far much better place to help themselves and to help each other because of the tremendous increase in the purchasing power of the dollar that such things would do when we do things the biblical way.
All right, well, caller, thank you so much. We want to take some more calls, all right? Thank you for your contribution. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls here on Win FM 98.9. This is Inside the News, and I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is 8 minutes past the hour. We end this program at 1:30. You know, the conversation surrounding people getting certain positions and, you know, promoting our local people. Let me hold that thought quickly and we'll take this call. Let me hold that thought. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And you?
I'm doing fantastic too. Don't tell me the same thing like the way they tell me every day.
Good to hear.
For your lunch. Anyway, I just called to congratulate People's Action Movement on their birthday. And I wish them all the best in the future. And I want to congratulate Honorable Sean Richard for standing up and speaking out when he see things need speaking about. You're doing good, Sean. Don't go sleep with nothing for you when you could talk. So congratulations to you again. Big up to you, Sean. Have a good day, Mr. Cornelius. That's all I called to say.
All right, you too, and thank you for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989, 762-0989, or 662-0989. Thank you so much for your contribution. For those of you who are just joining the program, earlier we had Sean Richards of the People's Action Movement speaking on the 58th anniversary of the party. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. What about you?
All right, man. Just listening. 2 callers ago, the brother who spoke about doing things the biblical way, I've heard him say so time and time again, Devon. I'm not trying to be confrontational or anything, but if he could just point us to any scripture that would support this argument, Devon, that would be useful, so we could check it out ourselves. It's one thing to say the biblical way, but you must have scripture to support what you're saying. So like I said, I'm not trying to be confrontational with him, but if he could just give us scripture to support what he's saying, that would be good.
Yes.
Because with all the theologians in the world, I mean, it cannot be just he who has that point of view. So if he could point us to scripture, let us read the scripture and interpret it, because scripture is all about interpretation. You might read one thing and get something from it. I might read the same passage and get something else from it. So if he could just point us to any scripture at all to support this argument, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, caller. Thank you for your call and your contribution to this program. A very fair suggestion by the caller there. Quoting the Bible and saying doing things the biblical way, but pointing us to the actual scripture as to where we should go and read to find out exactly what to do. That is something that I support. Before the caller came in, I was making the point, responding to that conversation that was being had about people getting certain positions and talking about their qualifications and all of that. We live in a very small country, and we know how Caribbean politics operate. There are people who would get appointed or selected for a position based on their qualifications and experience. And then you have those who ain't know nothing, but because they're not the politician and them told them a friend, they get the job. So that is exactly what it is, and that is how it operates. And it happened. It has happened before, and it is happening. And I'm not going to throw water on it or pretend like it's not happening. And I don't apologize for making that statement. That is exactly what it is. There are people who would get positions or get selected or whatever based off of their qualifications and their experience. People who, depending on what color you wear. At the same time, there are people who, they support who they want, but they are qualified. My thing is, if you know what you're doing, you have the experience, you have the training, you have the knowledge, allow people to do their jobs regardless of what color they wear. As long as you're doing your job and you ain't pretending like you know, but you know what you're doing, that is absolutely fine. You would also realize I mentioned experience. Then all the time the person has to have 10, 15, 20, 25 years experience. When we all started our first job, we didn't know anything. We had to learn on the spot, and that's where we got our experience. So at the same time, I believe in giving people a chance and giving people a chance to prove themselves. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, there's very slight across the board, very slight across the Narrows, the Nevis, and if anyone cared to talk about the new development, with the back and forth that's going on in the NRP camp. My question is, right, when they had the swearing in of the house, the NIA house there the other day, when was that, Thursday?
Yes, that was Thursday.
So my understanding is that leader of the opposition wasn't put in place. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I want to get that question answered.
Yes.
The leader of the opposition was put in place.
Yes, that's correct. There is no leader of the opposition in the NIA.
Okay, so then therefore my other question is, if that is what it is right now, right? Can that body conduct any type of business at this time? I'm just trying to get some answers. Until an opposition leader is put in place, the House cannot operate. Is that correct?
No. The House can operate.
That's not correct.
Let me state for the record, though, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so I won't be able to go into detail and explain every single, give a response to every single question that one may have or you may have. But there is no official leader of the opposition in the Nevis Island Assembly. As it is right now, there are 2 elected representatives on the opposition bench for Nevis 5 and Nevis 4, but none of them officially has the title of leader of the opposition. From my understanding, the House can still operate. I think the next sitting for the Nevis Island Assembly would be for the budget debate.
Yeah, okay. All right, okay, thanks.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. It is 11:15. We'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we will continue this program right here on Win FM 98.9. Stay tuned, and I will be right back. For those of you who are just joining, you can call us at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's take this call. Let's take this break, sorry, and I'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
TDC Financial Services. We're here for you to help you make your dreams come true. Whether your needs are big or small, we'll support you with them all. TDC Financial Services. We are strong. TDC Financial Services. This is where you belong.
TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on Win FM 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Wait, you have to turn off the radio first before we can talk. All right?
Yeah, good afternoon again, Devon.
Hello, caller, you have to turn off your radio first, all right?
Yeah, I just turned it off.
Okay, yes.
If you anything is a fan. Because the day is getting hot. Good afternoon, Brother Greg. Now, the model that Greg is promoting is slavery, you know. That same book, it in the same Paul was living under the slavery economy. Now, if you have slaves, you don't got the government ain't got to provide no social services. There was none during slavery, you know. Paul talk about slaves to be someone to be your masters who got rule over you and all of that. It's in there, you know. That is what he's promoting. And we have the citizenship, CBI, that can be used to fund a lot of what we're talking about. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the government has to go and increase taxes. That is a different economy you're talking about. We have been collecting CBI funds. What we need is a proper use of those funds for development purposes. And so I think he's promoting slavery because the perfect competitive economy you're talking about exists nowhere. If it exists, then all the people are near starvation. I don't know if he's aware of it. He can't find one country, even America, who promotes itself as pure competition. The poverty level is high, you know, and the majority of the people live off of social benefits. So tell Greg what he's promoting is slavery. Tell him I said go look in the Bible, in that same Paul. Paul was promoting slavery which was in existence. So therefore, the thing about paying no taxes, and who they going to pay them to? Was only the few who had. The majority couldn't do a thing other than survive. Even in the Caribbean, when our ancestors were in slavery, the government had no need. It is after emancipation. After emancipation, the poor, the enslaved, the formerly enslaved people were barely surviving. And when they had the Mowing Commission in 1935, and they came to the Caribbean, they could not believe that 100 years after emancipation, 100 years, people were living no better, while all those who were paying little or no tax had increased their wealth immensely. So take a look at history and take a look at the Bible. Because you mean well, you know. I know you mean well. You mean well. But you must put things in context and get the history correctly. Paul never say, let them suffer, don't let them eat. And again, the CBI belongs to us. It is not a tax per se. A lot of it is given as a donation to the country, as SIDF. All we are asking the government to do is to properly use it to improve the living standard. So if I say, we say water is our main problem, water and electricity, and you have diplomatic things, just like how in the Taiwanese is helping to develop the economy. The same way Israel is way ahead in desalination. America has a lot. If we can't afford to buy them, we source them through donations. And we use some of the SIDF money or the CBI money for that purpose. All right then, Greg.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. It is 1:24. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying it is morning still, but it's 1:24, and you're listening to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. The caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, Devon, me again. Now, another thing that I should have recommended, which is also the biblical way for government to go, is to privatize what it ought to be privatizing based upon the teachings of the Bible and only stick to its biblical obligations and duties. And all the rest to privatize them in a proper free market capitalist manner and context. Because normally when government privatize things, they create a monopoly because they do it in the wrong way. But they need to do it in a proper free market capitalist way. Now, to answer the caller, now I've done that many times here and Win FM and on other stations, but you do not have the time for me to go in a Bible study, so I will just give a quick thing. Number one, Romans chapter 13, verses 1 to 7 teaches that God is the one who established government and he has prescribed to it certain duties and obligations, certain limited duties and obligations, which are 1, to praise those, to approve of those who do good, based upon what the Bible says good is, and how they should praise them, and also and how they should praise them and approve of them, and two, to punish those who do evil, as the Bible tells us which evils are to be punished and how they are to be punished. And not only that, 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 6 says, we ought not to go beyond what is written in the Bible, that is. So you have those two passages, and there are other, but those are the two main passages. Romans 13 tells you what the functions of the government is, and also another function that Romans 13 said that is of the government is to pick up the taxes to perform those duties. That's the third function in Romans chapter 13 for the government to do. And like I say, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 6, it tells us what is written in Scripture, don't go beyond it, which we love to do. We love to go beyond what is written in the Scripture because we feel that the Scriptures are inadequate and that we know better than God. And because we feel that we know better than God and we are more God than God, we throw away the Bible and go beyond, far beyond what is in the Bible as instructed to us that we should stick with and do not go beyond. But there are two books. There are two books that I would love, in addition, to recommend for further study on this issue, because I just don't talk of this off the cover of my head. I do my research and really understand stuff. And two books I would like to recommend. There are many more I could recommend, but there are two that I would love to recommend as for starters. Productive Christians in an Age of Guilt Manipulation. That is written by David Chilton, and Chilton is spelled Chilton. David Chilton, Productive Christians in an Age of Guilt Manipulation. And the second one, the second one is There is No Free Lunch, 250 Economic Truths, written by David L. Bahnsen, and that is spelled Bahnsen. Bahnsen. David L. Bahnsen. There is No Free Lunch, 250 Economic Truths. Those are two books for starters to show you what the Bible teaches about politics, economics, and that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that I agree with everything 100%, but you could say 98% I agree with what they say. And those two I would recommend very, very highly for starters. There are many more that I could recommend, but those two. So I just don't speak like that. I make sure I do my reading, my studies, and that sort of stuff. Okay, take care. Hello?
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. It is 1:30 here in our studios, and so we're going to bring this program to a close. Let me say thank you so much for your contribution. Until next time, you guys continue to stay safe. I've been your host for today's edition of Inside the News, Devon Cornelius. Until next time, you guys have a good one.